Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to my power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakadash. That honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who rule well and teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, we be a part of that number. I'm the brother Kadar from the Jimmy's Brand Chicago. Come back with another video. This video is going to be entitled "Fight for That Blessing" by Jacob. This is I was watching the Elder Itazawan video, going into the condition of the battle, and it was all through the spirit, because it was one of those days where I was, low in the spirit, and the definitely was the lesson was definitely a needed lesson through the spirit, man. That's why it's important. That's why these videos are important, because the scripture say he that watereth for himself also, because you're being edified, and also other people are being members of the body are being edified, man. And that's why it's important to go out there and teach, man, to do these video epistles, because you don't know who you're comforted through the spirit, which brother, which member of the elect you're comforted through the spirit, man. Because as we get closer to the end, it's only going to get harder, but the Lord is turning up our spirits, man. When brothers are catching the affliction, brothers are on edge, man. But we just got to remember that Yahweh Shem Shai is with us, man. We got to apply what we learning, apply what we're teaching, man. Not to be a hypocrite. Okay. So like, give me 1 second. This car looks like it's backing up. Okay, that's cool. I'm gonna grab this Genesis 32 and 24, and I'll just flowing through the spirit as well. Whatever the spirit wants me to bring out, I'll bring out. That's a good one too. 1 second. This is the book of Genesis 32, and as a matter of fact, let me just start up, because that was a good one too. The spirit want me to grab this one. Let me park this car real quick. This is Genesis 32 and 9. It says, and Jacob said, O Yahweh of my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, Yahweh which saidest unto me, return into thy country and into thy kindred, and I will deal well with thee. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies and of all the truth which thou hast showed unto thy servant. For with my staff I passed over the Jordan, and now I am become two bands. So, Jacob was saying he's not worthy of the least of the Lord's mercies, man. We aren't either. It reminds me of that, the scripture that says, gird up thy loins like a man, for I have demanded it of thee. The scripture said we suffering less than our iniquity deserve, man. We got to constantly keep that in remembrance, that we're not getting the full measure of what we really should be getting, man, because we all deserve death. We gotta have that confidence, that faith that, hey, the Lord got me through whatever trial he puts me through. That 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, because it hits different, when you're in that fire, because when you catching the affliction, when you in a good spirit, you could talk about going through the affliction and overcoming it, but when you in that fire is a whole different story. You got to keep the same energy. Okay. Got to keep the same energy, man. Got to apply that, kind of like you preparing for a fight, man. You got to keep that. You got to remember the basics that your coach is yelling at you from your corner, or that you're drilling. You got to have that faith. All right, that the Lord can deliver you from that situation. It all goes back to faith, man. Because it says in 1 Corinthians 10 and 13, let no temptation take you, but such as is common to man. But the Most High is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but make for will to escape. So you got to believe that the Lord is not going to give you anything that you can't handle. Whatever he puts on my plate, I can handle that. I have to believe that, though. You have to believe that. Okay? And we got to fight to stay in the spirit. It's Genesis 32:24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, all right, and if you go into that word for wrestle, it goes into wrestling and grappling. Verse 25, and when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, and he wrestled with him. All right, so man, so his the hollow of his thigh, man, that's mighty as hell. And the elder out there in Wisconsin, Elder Itazuan was just talking about that, man. A lot of us are fighting injured, spiritually injured, spiritual traumatic events that didn't happen, that shook you up. Some of us are physically injured. We still have to fight. We still got to fight for that blessing. The scriptures say, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved, man. Not he that fall out, not he that took a break. He that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved, man. So this is the battle, man. We got to go through this. This is the battle that we facing, man. Verse 26, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So he was fighting for this blessing. Jacob wasn't he wasn't going for that. Verse 27, he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, O Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel, for as a prince hast thou power with the Most High. Okay? And with men it has prevailed. Okay? And Jacob asked him and said, tell me, I pray thee, thy name. And he said, wherefore is it that thou doest ask for my name? He had blessed him there. Okay? So he wrestled with the angel, and the angel blessed him. All right, the Lord blessed him through him. Okay? Change the name to Yasharallah. From Ya'iquab to Yasharallah. He Prince of the Power. All right, he Prince of Power, man. So we got to do that same thing through the Spirit. These wicked thoughts Satan put in our head, these obstacles that Satan put in our path, man. I had a clip, man, from TikTok, and it was very edifying. It was about, that's what's, the video is about breaking rhythm. That's what Satan spiritually tries to do. He tries to break our rhythm by throwing obstacles in our way. All right, which I'm going to grab is Luke 22:31. And I'm going to tie it in with that Job, the 2nd chapter, man, because Satan, he desired to seek to sift us as wheat, man. To put these things in our way, to try to frustrate our spirit, try to make us give up and put these wicked thoughts in our mind, man. We got to overcome that. We got to fight against that. We got the comforter. We got the words of Yahweh Bashim El Shai, man. We got to wrestle for our blessing. Okay? The scripture say, he that endureth unto the end, the same shall be saved. So this is something you got to endure. This the battle. All right? The scripture says in Hebrews 10, we are not of them that draw back into perdition, which means destruction. We're not going back to the world, man. Lord willing, we be of the elect. All right? Now I'm going to play the video. Okay, I just had to edit it out because, it shows my personal account, and whatnot. But so let me play this lesson. Let me play this quick clip. It's very edifying, man. If you can chew the meat, spit out the bones, through the Spirit.
Combat sports psychologists have shown that disrupting rhythm creates more mental damage than heavy shots. Each teep doesn't just push your opponent's body back. It resets their brain, it erases their plan, and it plants doubt with every connection. And so when you finally kind of start to understand this, then your whole approach to fighting transforms. The teep isn't just about distance, it's also about dominance. And in the fight game, the most powerful strikes always hit the mind first.
That's right. It always hit the mind first, man. So let's grab this Luke 22:31, because that's what Satan tries to do. He tries to break our rhythm, throw a monkey wrenches in our plan, which if you look at it spiritually, hey, you either gonna sink or swim. You either going to be overcome by these wicked spirits, or you're going to rise up to the occasion, rebuke them, and continue to get stronger in the spirit. You know, because the elect, that shit ain't going to it's only going to make them stronger through the spirit. There's Luke 22, Luke 22 and 31. And the Lord said, Simon, Simon, behold, Satan have desired to have you, that he may sift you as wheat. But I have prayed for thee, that thy faith fail not. And when thou art converted, strengthen thy brethren. Okay? So once we overcome these things, we can edify the flock. All right, and strengthen the body, man. Okay, now let's go at this word for desire. Let me hold that Job 2 on deck.
Strong's G 1809. Exciteo.
It says to ask from demand of, to ask or beg for oneself, to ask that one be given up to one from the power of another. Okay? So Satan's asking for that permission to fuck us up. All right? It said, let me read that one more time. It says, to ask or beg for oneself, to ask that one be given up to one from the power of another. You know, that reminds me of that Job, the 2nd chapter. This is Job 2 and 1, and I'm going to grab that word for sift as well. I haven't forgot about that. That's siniazo. All right, it's Job 2 and 1. It says, again, there was a day when the sons of Yahweh came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also from among them to present himself before Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Satan, from whence comest thou? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from waking up and down from it. Right, so that's Satan just going to and fro from the earth, and it's doing the dirty work of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Okay, verse 3, and Yahweh said to Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? There is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil. And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without a cause. Okay, so the Lord had that bet out. You know, the Lord and Satan had a bet. Verse 4, and Satan answered Yahweh and said, skin for skin, yeah, all that a man have, will he give for his life. But put forth thy hand now and touch his bone and his flesh. He will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, will save his life. So he's like, hey, this man, hey, take a little bit of let me roughen him up a little bit. I promise you, he gonna fold. He gonna curse you. You know? And the Lord was like, bet. All right. Hey, but Job kept his integrity. Let's keep reading. It says, verse 7. So when Satan forth from the presence of Yahweh and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown, and he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Right, he smote him with boils, man. You know, Job's children also passed. You know, his woman bucked up. You know, hey, having boils on your body, hey, that ain't no joke, man. You know, that isn't no joke, man. Let's keep reading. It says, verse 9, then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain that integrity? Curse Yahweh and die. That's the mindset that, and you know, women aren't fit to handle pressure. You know, they'll be the quick to fold, man. They'll be the quickest to fold. You know? So this is woman, man. This somebody he lay with. You know? Tried to put this bug in his ear, man. And look what he told her. It says, but he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What, shall we receive good at the hand of Yahweh, and shall we not receive evil? In all this did not Job sin with his lips. Right, and Job gave the balance. Like, listen, we going to have our prosperities, but we also going to have our afflictions. You know? And the Lord told Paul, my mercy is sufficient for thee, man. You know? So this is just the things that we got to go through, man. And Satan was trying to sift Job. Let's grab that word for sift in the Hebrew. I mean, in the blue letter, in the Greek.
Strong's G 4617. Siniazo.
It says to sift, shake, and a sieve, by inward agitation to try one's faith to the verge of overthrow. So that's Satan's job. His job is to overthrow you. Okay? His job is to make you pricked in the mind. All right? His job is to make you doubt yourself, make you think. He wants to make you offended at the brotherhood. Okay? He wants you to give give yourself over to the flesh. He wants you to continue to stay comfortable. Okay? So that's his job. And once you know that, once you wake up in the morning, the elder brother Arala was just talking about that, and when we was in class Sunday. Once you wake up and realize you in a war, everything changes. That's why you gotta have that whole armor on, man. That breastplate, that shield of faith. Okay? You wake up, anoint yourself. Okay, you throw up the blessings on yourself, man. Or you just armored yourself for the day. Okay? Hey, cause the scripture said we go against principalities and rulers in high places, man. Paraphrasing. So we going against these left-hand spirits. These people trying to put enchantments on us. These weird people around us, our family. All right, our relatives, like the real family is the brothers. All right, these people at our jobs, your neighbors. Like it says in the Matrix, anybody outside the Matrix, anybody in the Matrix is a potential agent. Anybody outside this truth is a potential agent, man. Satan's job. Satan wants to disrupt your rhythm. All right. You got a good what is that called? You got a good regimen going on. Satan throw a monkey wrench in there. It's a fight. Okay. Hey man, this is perfect right here. Let me grab that in the blue letter. I gotta grab that in the blue letter, man. I have to. This is Hebrews 12, and I'm gonna start at 2. Matter of fact. I started 2. It's all good. It says, looking unto Yahushua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame. All right, that word despise means to think little of. Okay, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Yahweh. So let's look at that word for author. It says one that takes the lead in anything, and thus affords an example, a predecessor in a matter, a pioneer, the author. So Yahushua was our trailblazer. He led the path for the elect. Okay, he walked that path first, and we're following after. That's why the scripture says the servant is not greater than his master. We must drink of that cup as well. All right, the scripture says, if you suffer with me, you shall also reign with me. So this is what we got to go through. So let's go through that word. Let's go to the word finisher. Okay, it says a perfecter, one who has in his own person raised faith to its perfection, and so set before us the highest example of faith, and that's what Yahushua shown. Okay, he put himself, and he died on the cross for his people, man. Okay, showing the highest example of faith. Man, hey, man, I say it all the time, man. If a nigga say you don't worship Yahushua, you don't need to. Hey, get away from that guy, man. All right, let's go to that word for endure. All right, it says to persevere. It says under misfortunes and trials to hold fast to one's faith in Hamashiach. Okay, so we're going to have to endure these misfortunes, man. That happens in our lives, man, because we're here to suffer. Okay, it says, this is the definition for persevere. Continue in a course of action, even in the face of difficulty, or of little or no prospect of success. This is the word for, this is the definition B. It says to endure, bear bravely and calmly ill treatments. Okay? Of course, it's the word for despising. It says to contemn, disdain, despise, disdain, think little or nothing of, man, because there's a reward for this. All right? We're about to receive 100-fold, man. You know, the suffering is not comparable to the reward we're about to receive. All right, this verse 5, Hebrews 12:5. And ye have forgotten the exhortation which speaketh unto you as unto children, my son. Despise not thou the chastening of the Lord, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. For whom the Lord loveth, he chasteneth, and scourgeth every son whom he receiveth. So you got to get your ass whooped by Yahweh Shemel Shai, man. Got to go through that affliction. Verse 7, if ye endure chastening, the Most High doeth for you as with sons. All right, the Most High is getting that dross off us, man. That spiritual dross. All right, removing our impurities. All right, teaching us lessons with our mistakes, from our mistakes, man. It says, for what son is he whom the Father chasteneth not? Verse 8, but if ye be without chastisement, thereof all are partakers, then are ye bastards and not sons. Okay? We don't want to be a nigga that's just not going through shit, just going through the motions, everything going out well, man. More than likely the Lord ain't dealing with you. You know, we receive our prosperity as well, you know, but we go through our afflictions as well, man. You know? So just wanted to bring out that lesson. You know, Lord willing, it was edifying, just something that was on my spirit today, man. You know, and the Wadi Yahweh Shemel Shai for the inspiration. You know, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Shemel Shai, Ba'ashem Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to those who elect. Lord willing, be a part of that number. Shalom, Kwame Asherala, Wa Ball.